Hello, how's it going? My name is Captain, and I am an anime nerd, as you can maybe see. Sometimes I show around my stuff. And one anime that I really like is Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is a really cool show, and I just recently watched the movie, and the movie was great, but I have some gripes. So, without further ado, I'm gonna do like a little review. And this is no spoilers, no nothing. I am just gonna say how I feel about the movie. Now, is it the best thing to ever happen to Demon Slayer? No. I still feel like the maybe I'm tripping, but the Entertainment District arc was probably my favorite arc in general in Demon Slayer. But this had a lot of good moments that I was like, oh my goodness. A lot of people that I didn't really like before. I like now, and they made me feel something in my heart testicles, and it just you know mm, it gave me that good feeling, and I was really happy with this movie. Honestly, like it was action straight from the get go. We are getting backstories. We are building up on everything that we've been figuring out as of lately about the demons and all that is really good. I think that this is a much watch if you are a person who is been following the anime for however long. And also, even if you're not a person that's following anime, I feel like this movie is still pretty good. Like, you won't get any context to anything, but it's still a very exciting watch. The animation superb. The fighting scene superb. Even the music was really good. I ain't gonna lie. Like, there was no like real standout tracks, but there was moments where I'm just like, dang, this music is actually hitting at the perfect time. You know what I mean? This is great. Now, the pacing. This is the one thing that is kind of a problem. The pacing is weird. How they structured it was big battle, big moment. In the middle of the big battle or big moment, then another big battle is about to happen, and then as we're getting to that point, they skip over it, and then they go back to the main big battle, and then they let that play out, and then we go. It's kind of like jumping back and forth, kind of like Pulp Fiction or something like that, which is fine. But after they did it for like 3 or 4 times, I was just kind of like, okay, enough. Let's just sit with one. And once when we sat with like one conflict, I'm all like, okay, this is where this is where the movie is actually doing its thing. I ain't gonna lie, they was cooking. They was cooking. They was chefs kissing. I ain't gonna lie, amazing. And I was enjoying it. And then again, pacing was just a very big issue that I had with the movie, especially towards the ending. There's this long stretch of exposition that is not necessarily needed, but the story that they're telling is really good. It's just that the place that they put it in was bad. And what I mean by that is like, usually they have the big fight at the end, and then yap 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 leading up to it, but they kind of did it the opposite way, where they had the big battle and then exposition dump for like 30 minutes. And that's my biggest problem, because at some point there was like a conflict that was happening, and it was just a long period to where people was just yapping, inching closer and closer, and then yapping again, and then inching closer and closer and yapping again. And it ended up being like 30, 40 minutes of just exposition and backstory, which is fine. Because again, that's what a Demon Slayer does. Gives a little bit more background on the demons and make you feel a little bit bad for them, or make you valid in your anger with them, which is one of my criticisms too, because there are times when people have backstories and the backstories don't even make sense for me to even feel bad for them, and I'm just like, I really don't care at all. Can we just move it along? But again, neither here nor there. The backstory was needed. It was cool. It was fine. It was just too long, and the place that they put it was so weird. It felt like all the action just had to go to an excruciating halt. Like it was like somebody giving you like a 5 course meal, and then once we about to get dessert, some random big man wanna order a whole ass pizza. So now we gotta wait until he scarfed down the whole pizza, and then after he's done, we finally get to get the dessert. But then the dessert ain't gonna get to us until like 3 or 4 more years. Cause again, we are looking at a trilogy of movies. It's gonna be 2 other movies after this. So by the time it's over, um, again, the first part did have a conclusion, but we are still gonna be waiting so long to get to the next part, and that's fine. Again, that's fine. But the only thing that I'm irritated about is they spent like the little sweetness time that we had to give exposition to a character that's actually important, but it ended up just feeling like it didn't lead to anything. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't really that big of a deal, and that is my anger. That is where I was at when I was watching it. And again, I was watching it with a big group. People was like, okay, yeah, I feel what you mean, but hey, listen, the movie is really good regardless. And I still think that it is a good movie. It's just that I wish that section didn't happen, or it just didn't exist, because man, if they just tightened it up a little bit and then just put more add-ons to certain boss battles, I mean, the fucking battles or whatever, or gave backstories to different characters a little bit longer, then I feel like they would have had a nice, beautiful, would have had a nice, beautiful, delectable eats. You know what I mean? Like it was there. It was there with me, but they lost me. But again, this is a good movie. That is my only complaint without getting into spoilers, even though I kind of, hinted at stuff. But, it is what it is. I'm assuming that if you're watching this, you either watched it or you are just seeing if it's worth going to go see it in the movie theaters. And I say that it is. I feel like it is a good experience. The theater that I was in was really small. So, like, it felt a little bit more intimate, and then people was getting hyped up. Well, I was getting hyped up as usual. I'm the worst person to watch movies with, because I will be sitting there getting hyped up if any hype things happen, and I will also be saying that the movie is trash if it's trash. So again, I'm not a good movie theater person, but it was a good time. It was a good vibe. Anime fans, we always show up and show out. Plus, I got to see the trailer of Chainsaw Man movie, which I'm really fucking excited about. But yeah, that's how I feel. Let me know how you feel in the comments, and I will let y'all go. Bye.